In 1998, British police sent a warning to Spain. A convicted sex attacker was living on the Costa del Sol. A man a judge had already called a monster. Spain marked the warning. Low risk. 1 year later, a 19-year-old girl was stabbed to death, 500 meters from her front door. The police never looked at him. They looked at her. October 9th, 1999, Cala de Mijas, a small coastal town in southern Spain, the kind of place where teenagers walk home alone at night. Rocío Wanninkhof was 19 years old, Dutch and Spanish. She had grown up on this coast, in this town, on these streets. That evening, she left her boyfriend's house just after 9:30. The walk home was 500 meters. She was going to shower, change, and meet her friends at the fair. She never arrived. The next morning, her mother found Rocío's trainers on the path. Beside them, blood stains, drag marks leading off the road into the dark. For 3 weeks, hundreds of locals joined the search. Farmers, neighbors, strangers. One of the largest civilian searches in Spain's history. On November the 2nd, they found her, near Calahonda Beach, 30 kilometers from where she disappeared. She had been stabbed repeatedly, partially buried. The evidence suggested sexual assault. She was 19 years old, 10 days away from her 20th birthday. Act 2. The failure. Within weeks, the investigation had a prime suspect, not a stranger, not someone with a violent history. They chose Dolores Vázquez, known as Loli, a 52-year-old woman from Galicia. For nearly a decade, she had been the partner of Rocío's mother, Alicia. She had helped raise Rocío, cooked meals, driven the children to school, been present at birthdays and school plays. When the relationship with Alicia ended, they remained in most ways at peace. By 1999, there was some tension, a property dispute, old wounds. In the eyes of the investigators, that was enough. Here is what the prosecution had as evidence. Nothing, no DNA linking Loli to the scene. No fingerprints, no murder weapon. No witness placing her anywhere near Rocío's route that night. Her alibi that she was home caring for her niece's child was dismissed, without a credible rebuttal, without a counter-witness, without anything. What the prosecution had was a theory, a narrative, and a press that was ready to run with it. Spain's media did not cover this trial. They conducted it. Day after day, Loli Vázquez was described as cold, calculating, predatory. Her sexuality in conservative Spain in 2001 was not just mentioned, it was weaponized. Broadcasters debated whether her psychological profile was consistent with a killer, a profile built on one thing only, that she was a gay woman who had once loved the victim's mother. Then came the moment that should haunt every person who watched it. Spain's interior minister held a press conference. He stood at a podium in front of cameras before the trial had even begun, and he told the country on record that Dolores Vázquez complied with all the criminal elements of a guilty woman. She had not been convicted. She had not yet stood trial. The jury had already been told what to think. The trial lasted several weeks. September 2001. No forensic evidence was presented, because there was none. A criminal profiler described Loli's personality as troubling. One witness, a cleaner, claimed she had seen Loli stabbing a missing person poster of Rocío. Loli said she was showing the cleaner who the missing girl was. The jury believed the cleaner. On September 7th, 2001, the jury found Dolores Vázquez guilty of murder, 15 years in prison. The judge noted the verdict rested on circumstantial indicators and a moral conviction of guilt, not evidence, a feeling. Loli entered prison. The real killer went back to work. Act 3. The dark verdict. His name at birth was Anthony Bromwich, born in Holloway, North London, 1967. By the age of 19, he had attacked 5 women, strangling them, assaulting them in the streets of North London. The press called him the Holloway Strangler. A judge called him a monster, driven by sexual inadequacy. He was sentenced to 10 years. He served 5. Released in 1991. Immediately rearrested for armed robbery. Released again in 1996. By then he had changed his name. He was now Tony King. And he had moved to Spain. He settled on the Costa del Sol, Malaga province. He worked as a barman, an estate agent, an odd job man. He married. He had a daughter. He looked by every surface measure like any other British expat on the coast. In 1998, Scotland Yard located him and asked him to return to the UK voluntarily. He refused. British police formally notified Spain's Ministry of the Interior. A convicted violent sex offender, living in southern Spain. Known to be dangerous, Spain marked the notification. Low risk, no arrest, no surveillance, no action. 6 months later, Rocío Wanninkhof was murdered 500 meters from her front door. Spanish investigators had actually looked at Tony King early in the investigation. His then-wife vouched for him. They moved on to Dolores Vázquez, and Tony King went back to the bar, back to the coast, back to his life. For 4 years. August 2003. 17-year-old Sonia Carabantes disappeared from the town of Coín, inland Malaga. Her shoes, her phone, her purse, left in the street near her home. Beside traces of blood, her body was found 5 days later, beaten, strangled, partially buried. Investigators collected DNA from the scene. It matched traces recovered at the Wanninkhof crime scene 4 years earlier. Identical profile, 1 killer, 2 victims, and Dolores Vázquez had been in prison for all of it. Tony King was arrested in September 2003. He confessed. He confessed to killing Rocío Wanninkhof. He confessed to killing Sonia Carabantes. He admitted to a string of sexual assaults across the Costa del Sol. DNA confirmed everything. All charges against Dolores Vázquez were immediately dropped. She had served 519 days in prison for a murder she did not commit. A murder committed by a man British authorities had flagged as dangerous. A man Spanish authorities had been explicitly warned about. A man who lived and worked in the same town as his first victim. Unmonitored, untouchable, invisible. Because the investigation had already decided who was guilty. Tony King is currently serving 55 years in a maximum security prison in Spain. Dolores Vázquez received no formal state apology. In 2026, her hometown in Galicia honored her publicly for the first time for her dignity and her silence in the face of a wrong that took 519 days of her life and was never repaid. Rocío Wanninkhof's killer walked free for 4 years. During that time, the system was not looking for him. It was looking at her. The dark verdict. The Wanninkhof case is not a story about one bad detective. It is not a story about one biased newspaper or one corrupt minister. It is a story about what happens when a justice system decides, before the evidence is in, who the guilty person must be. Loli Vázquez was convicted because she was a lesbian in Catholic Spain. Because the press needed a villain, and she fit the image they had already decided on. Because a jury was not asked to find facts, it was asked to ratify a feeling that had been building for months before they ever entered that room. And while they did that, a violent predator with a documented history of attacking women, a man Scotland Yard had explicitly warned Spain about, was left to kill again. The system did not fail by accident. It failed by choice. It chose the story it wanted over the truth it had. Dolores Vázquez lost 519 days of her life. Sonia Carabantes lost her life entirely. And the Interior Minister, who declared an innocent woman guilty, on camera, before her trial, faced no consequences whatsoever. That is the dark verdict.